So this is Mithilesh here. I'm a chartered accountant and a lawyer by profession. I'm from Hyderabad. Today I'm going to speak about my story, and it's a real story, and it's a kind of a psychological or management case study also. So I'll tell you a few instances, learnings, and the kind of thought process that evolved over a period of time, and how I achieved the gain over the limitations, challenges that I faced in my life, and how did the evolution happen and ultimately led to a success. Now, mostly all the successful people, generally, we get carried away by the Instagram posts or the kind of achievements that we see on the digital platforms. But when you ask them and talk to them in deep, they have a lot of failures. Success comes out of after a lot of failures. So the point that I'm trying to drive here is, we all like comeback stories. We all like stories where, underdogs are, winning over the veterans. That might be cricket, that might be, movies, that might be in real life as well. So I'll just quickly tell you the background and the phases of life. Next slide. So in this, from an education phase, from an employment phase, and an entrepreneur phase, what did I face in my scope of work on a daily basis or a professional career? And, everybody has these phases in their life. So the point, I was trying to generalize this and, try to make this as a case study. We are from a very, small and naive background or a modest background from a lower middle class family. My father was an accountant, so he used to work for a lot of chartered accountants, and he used to deliver them the accounting works, and he used to do a lot of things for them. So, and we used to be in a very modest house as well. But he always used to tell me one thing, that you have to finish chartered accountancy, you have to finish this particular profession, and you have to thrive and establish yourself. Now, one good thing is he was very, very dedicated towards only that. It was like a lifetime ambition for him. He was like Amir Khan in Dangal. If you see what he couldn't achieve or what he wanted from his kids, he was only focusing on that particular aspect. Now, in this particular background, people used to make fun of both of us. They used to say that you are only focusing on something which is very ambitious. You're trying to focus on something which you'll never be able to achieve. You're trying to achieve or trying to boast about something that which is impossible. We finally achieved that. I qualified, and I became what he wanted, and I've joined the most desirable employment also. And in this phase of employment, again, I'm telling you all the challenges of the phases, then I'll tell you the learnings as well. Now, in this most desired employment in the favorite brands in this particular industry, when I went into the industry or the employment, there were a lot of corporate animals, there were a lot of mindsets which I faced in that particular employment stint. They always used to question on the way it has to be done, the way it has to be achieved, the way it has to be spoken, written, the way it has to be taught. They were only training a mindset which they want as an employee. They always had a resource kind of a feeling. Now, the point that I'm trying to tell you here is, never judge a person based upon his worth or a wallet or a brand. Always judge someone who has intent and the size of his heart. So if you are training someone from a long-term basis and trying to achieve something, he's trying to visualize something, never kill that dream. That's what was the major learning that I had in the employment phase. After 8 to 10 years in the employment, finally when I decided to move on to the entrepreneurship as well, there were a lot of questions in terms of, are you trying to achieve something which is impossible? Are you trying to create a space in an industry which is full of MNCs, brands, and already established leaders in the market? Do you want to start from ground zero and again come up? And these were the kind of questions that that came up, and it really intimidated me. It was like nobody was encouraging at that point of time. Today, after 5 years, we started a firm 5 years, 6 years back. we have more than 200 people working for us. And there are 3 locations in which we serve, India, US, Singapore, and Dubai as well. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is, if someone is visualizing something and if he has real affirmative emotions in his brain, nobody can stop that. Now the point is, at each phase, there were challenges, there were specifications, there were limitations that were set. Now, what were the learnings which I got from each of these phases? The thought process modification. If you have the right capabilities, if you have the ability, if you have the will and determination to achieve something, always focus on that. Always follow your heart. Never ever listen to any kind of restrictive mindsets or negative mindsets. If you want to achieve something which you have not achieved or not have right now, you have to do something which you have not done till now. So this sentence is very important. So, and also always develop people and allow them to rise. So if you have a good team and if you allow them to rise, you will be able to fly. So always create a team of people with positive mindsets and do it. Now I'll also talk about few instances in terms of the scope of work and how it was evolved in my professional journey. If you see this graph, I have made it in a one slide so that whatever can be spoken about, it has to be on a one slider. It talks about thoughts and implementation, it talks about the scope of work, it talks about the results that you will be able to achieve. There are 3 different zones in all of us live. One is a comfort zone, one is a stretch or a learning zone, one is a dream or a growth zone. Everybody wants to go into the dream or growth zone, but we stay in comfort zone only. So what is the comfort zone? We stay in our daily set of activities, we are happy with the routines, we are happy with doing what the boss asked me to do, we are happy with what the family wants us to do. And we get stuck, we get affected by others' opinions, so I don't want to go out of this shell. So this is the comfort zone. Stretch or a learning zone is that, the willingness is there and he has the skills, he, questions everything, but he is not, fully implementing that. So that particular zone is what I was when I was exiting the employment. Now, finding the right purpose, living the dream and conquering the objectives is what everybody wants to achieve. Now, if you are on the right path, the graph, if you are following your instinct and following your heart and you know where to reach and find your purpose and stretch towards the scope of work and implement it with the thoughts, then I think the results will come. I'll tell you 3 instances where I have implemented this theory. I have, practically identified. When I was very young, and almost around 13, 14 years, my father, who was an accountant, who used to work with a lot of chartered accountants, he went and told one chartered accountant that I want my son to become a CA and, he has to be successful like you. He just told it out of an inspiration kind of thing. But that chartered accountant told in reverse to him that, do you really are worth of it? Are you thinking too much to achieve? Do you think your son and my son will be chartered accountants one day? Don't daydream and stop daydreaming and go back to your house and complete the task that I give to you. That's what was the exact sentence that he told me. And when my father came back home and we were having dinner that day, when he told me about this particular interaction, and he was having tears in his eyes when that was a completely negative mindset which affected a naive or innocent mindset, that he wants to do something but he doesn't know how to do that, and a negative mindset immediately crushes that thought on that particular instance. That was the first instance where I felt that I have to achieve something which maybe beyond my capability, maybe which is beyond my financial situation at that point of time. So the thought process is, after 15 years, after this incident happened, we achieved whatever we wanted to achieve. But at this point of time, we are more successful, we have more worth, net worth, whatever he questioned at that point of time. And he met me the other day in one gathering, and he was saying to me that I never believed that so-and-so's son, will be standing and giving a lecture to me and in a particular subject. So that's what he told me the other day. So if you are intending to work beyond the scope, if you are intending to follow your heart and stretch beyond imaginations, certainly all the dreams will come true. Second instance that I wanted to tell you is a question on audacity, and it's called aukad in Hindi. So when a particular, in the exit phase of the employment, when I told this to my, colleagues and, seniors and other people, they just asked me this question that, तेरे को उतनी औकात है क्या? So do you really think that you can achieve what you wanted to achieve? Do you think that you can create a space in this industry for yourself? You're a small kid, don't even, dream about that. That's what they told me. But we believed as a firm, along with all my partners and all our, employees, we believed that delivering quality, stretching beyond the scope of work, and making your hands dirty to get the results for the clients is the most important thing. Brand or a non-brand doesn't matter. So you have to have the capability to stretch and make your hands dirty and go and, get that result for the client. So the so-called, brands or who criticize or crush the new generation or the startup, what I want to establish or what I want to tell is any startup, any entrepreneur, any kind of business for that matter, it takes some time. It takes at least 2 to 3 years gestation period, 2 to 3 years learning phase. During this phase, if at all any questions or any negativity or any limitation comes up, don't lose your heart. You always have to believe that you will be able to achieve it. They ask me a hell lot of questions. They ask me that you are not funded, you doesn't have a recognition, you don't have team, you will not be able to achieve what you wanted to do. Why do you want to risk it? Go for an employment and be happy. That's what they told me. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is, brand doesn't matter. It's always the hands, brains, and the person who's actually delivering the service or the product to the end customers. So if the end customer likes it, you will be successful. That's what is the learning. Now, I'll quickly conclude with, the learnings that have been implemented or the experiences that I've got in the entire journey. So life is not always fair. It will have its own shortcomings. It will have its own challenges that pose to you. It's full of failures. Accept that particular fact. And don't be scared of experimenting and taking risks. If at all you're not getting into that zone, then you will never achieve anything. If a particular opportunity is there, if at all you are going with your full heart and demonstrating willingness and determination, maybe a tinge of luck might be required, but that's the starting point. If you're able to do that and demonstrate your individual capability, also have people who are positive minded and positive vibe is what is required for your ecosystem as such, then obviously success will follow. So always believe that you can create your own space in any industry, and there is always space for the best. Thank you so much for this opportunity.